or provided for in the county budget. The first of those would be to provide efficient essential services. And one of the ones that came to mind most immediately for me was fixing our county's roads. Gentlemen, you'll remember a couple of years ago when we were on a $20 road user fee. That $20 road user fee was paid only by those folks who had houses in Pickens County, not the people who used the roads, not the people who owned the property, not the people who traveled through, but just the folks that owned houses in Pickens County. They paid that $20 road user fee. Regardless, the $20 road user fee, however it was applied, or I should say vehicles, I'm mixing up the fire fee, thank you, yes. But however that $20 was applied, gentlemen, it was woefully inadequate to actually fund the county road system. In fact, we estimated, and Michael Clark's here with me tonight, we estimated that at that funding level, at the funding level that was provided, we could repave every road in Pickens County once every 75 years, whether it needed it or not. That was obviously not going to work. The South Carolina Supreme Court weighed in and actually invalidated statewide road fees like this. Many counties in South Carolina are still, tonight, trying to figure out how to solve this problem. But you, gentlemen of Pickens County Council, tackled it immediately and changed us over to a millage-based system that now funds our roads in a sustainable way. I'll give you a specific example. Between the road maintenance fund you established, the road reserve fund you established, and our cooperations with the CTC committee, we're going to have paved, by this time next year, 60 miles of county road. Now, I'm not a mathematician, but 60 miles is roughly 1/13 of our entire system. In other words, we're looking at a less than 20-year repavement cycle. So I know that our county roads department is proud of this. I know that we as a county staff are proud of this, and we want to say thank you, gentlemen, for having accomplished that. Similarly, for many years, perhaps 30 or more, there's been a vision in Pickens County of taking our 13 distinct fire districts with 13 chiefs and 13 boards and 13 budget submissions and 13 sets of vehicles and combining them into an efficient system that would work better for the entire county. This county council, you 6 gentlemen, voted to do it. After 30 years of wants tos and recommendations from county staff and debates in county committees, this council voted to do it. And I think you all deserve credit for combining that into one fire district on one fire millage. Our Emergency Services Director, Billy Gibson, is here tonight, and he has been going through and looking for efficiencies. I've tasked him with eliminating 10 redundant vehicles, and he tells me that he is well on the way to doing that because we can operate in a much more efficient way, providing good fire service countywide. This has been a long time dream, never accomplished until you 6 gentlemen attacked it and you solved the problem. And so we want to say thank you. Gentlemen, 2 years ago, we were in a situation with our county landfill where we were almost out of capacity in the landfill. Our equipment was fading from years of use and hadn't been replaced. We did not have a good system in place for expanding that landfill or taking advantage of the limited space that we had. You'll see the picture up there. County Council, the committee appointed, actually came and met at the landfill, which we really appreciated, to learn firsthand what was going on. Councilmember Seda, you probably are not crazy about that picture any more than I am because it shows your bald spot, but I apologize about that. But nevertheless, you met at the landfill and you authorized county council, you authorized county staff to spend money out of our savings account to upgrade the equipment, to figure out a way to find more locations in our landfill. And you'll see that picture there of the tire shredder, or the shredder, C&D shredder, shredding tires as recently as this past week. But its main task is going to be handling the C&D that comes in all the time. We're going to stop trucking all our C&D to Greenville, being at the mercy of a private landfill company like the MRR company, or a landfill in another county. We're going to solve our problems here in Pickens County, gentlemen, and you all have given us the tools to do it. So I wanted to say thank you for that. You'll see our solid waste director, Steve Raines, who I don't think is here tonight. But you'll see him there receiving an award, statewide award from the South Carolina Recycling Association. He came and asked me just this past week if he could travel to Alabama, because there's a landfill county in Alabama that wanted to see how we do our landfills in Pickens County. And so he said, would that be okay? And I said, not only is it okay, I'm proud of you, Steve. But thank you, County Council, for making that possible. I could go on with other examples of county operations. You'll see a supervisor there changing the oil on a police car, or a director, I should say. You'll see county staff working in our animal shelter, in our public service commission, in our building maintenance shop, all trying to be more efficient. Number two, protect and enhance our unique nature. One thing you did, gentlemen, is you voted to settle the long-standing coal ash lawsuit to make sure coal ash did not come into Pickens County. This was a major win. It fits with our previous conversations, our previous thank you about providing efficient, essential services. But the main thing here is we are in charge of our destiny with solid waste, only because you have voted to fund it. You have given us that vision, and we want to thank you for that. No more will we be relying on an out-of-state landfill company to solve our problems. Gentlemen, during the last 2 years, we brought multiple new county parks online, including a handicap accessible park at the Pickens County Airport, the new Grant Meadow Overlook, where people can safely pull over on the scenic highway and take the most photographed natural feature picture in the entire state of South Carolina, right there at Table Rock Park. You also allowed us to take over something that was an eyesore, Long Shoals Roadside Park, and turn it into a crown jewel. We also added on Katichi Roadside Park and Equoney Roadside Park. So our parks are growing for the benefit of the public, and gentlemen, that's because you've provided the funding and the vision. You've also, even though we were stuck in COVID without the use of inmates, you've funded 2 new litter control officers who are writing tickets and prosecuting litter cases not as we literally speak, but this week, last week, the week before that, prosecuting cases in our magistrate's court for illegal littering. But we're not only looking at it that way, we're also looking at it in education. We're also looking at it in teaming up and cleaning up together. And we've also adopted or taken over the state's Adopt a Highway program in Pickens County. You'll hear more and more about that. But it's all because you all set that vision. And then tonight, gentlemen, I know you're still pending third reading on this, but as we stand here tonight, as the folks in the crowd are here tonight, there are no protections against development on South Carolina Highway 11, the Cherokee Scenic Foothills Byway. No protections. For over a year, and you'll see that meeting that's shown on the screen right there, under your guidance and your mandate, we've been meeting with members of the public. We've been having public meetings. You all have worked diligently in committee meeting after committee meeting, in public forum after public forum, to try to establish the first ever protections for our scenic highway. Pending on third reading tonight are the first substantive protections in the history of this county for our most beautiful natural feature. So we can't predict the outcome of the vote. That's in your gentlemen's hands, and we certainly will support however you proceed. But I want to say on behalf of staff, thank you for the hard work you've done over the last year to get us to this point where we have a chance for the first time ever to have those protections. Promoting a culture of public service. Gentlemen, without going into too much detail, you've heard me talk about our LEAPS program. Your vision, your guidance, we now have folks in our county staff, our public servants, who are training each other in public service and in good leadership practices throughout our county. We've even opened this up now to the municipalities to allow our municipalities to start participating in this LEAPS program. The county can't exist in a vacuum. We have to be collaborative with our municipal neighbors. And one way we can do that is to build these bridges among our young leaders. Thank you for giving us that vision. We also have our Public Employee Service Corps. We not only work for Pickens County, but we believe in this community. You all provided a vision of us being public servants, and we've implemented it. So for example, if our ordinance doesn't allow us to fix a property condition in a location, we try to see if we can round up some volunteers to help. We're not going to just let a problem fester. We've got a long road to travel on this, guys, but we're going to start making progress, and we hope you're going to start seeing progress. Litter pickups, toy drives, those sorts of things are the business of public servants, and we thank you for that. We're heartened that through this County Council's guidance, we've won awards for public service from the United Way in both 2020, 2021, and 2022. We've also established the Pinnacle Performer Award, which you all passed through as a county resolution to recognize those in our midst that are the outstanding public servants, and we thank you for that. Delivering prompt and efficient emergency response. Gentlemen, just a few short years ago, we did not have an ambulance replacement plan. But you all have provided through your annual budget, we're replacing 2 ambulances every year. In other words, we'll cycle through the whole fleet in a sustainable way. You heard from our vehicle maintenance director just in the committee meeting last week that our EMS fleet is making huge improvements, which is good for us all. We're also started our Hiring Heroes initiative where we have multiple applications, and we'll be able to update you with some good news we think here in a couple of weeks about filling some much needed positions. Support of our first responders, not just in terms of giving them the equipment, which thank you for doing that, but also nurturing an environment, and after county resolution after county resolution, you've talked about how our mental and behavioral health among our first responders is important, that we need to support them when they're serving us, but they also need support when they might be struggling. We've also opened that up to veterans and to others. Strengthening our resilient local economy. Gentlemen, this is one thing that you all took on and solved a real problem in Pickens County. It's hard to see, but in that map on the left, in 2020, black on that map means you have the best internet you can have. Pink, yellow, means you basically can't do Zoom calls or work remotely or access videos online. And you can see that in the southwest part of the county, particularly in the northwest part of the county, a lot of the areas in the north, people with school children and people with real jobs that need to be done could not do them because we did not have the broadband infrastructure in this county. Gentlemen, y'all allocated money in a public-private partnership with Blue Ridge Electric Cooperative, and you are solving that problem. You see the map in 2022. This is an updated map. You see the areas of the black. Those folks, those 2,000 some odd households or more, now have state-of-the-art technology. They can work from home. Their children can keep up online. And it's because of work that you gentlemen did in this room, allocating the money and giving us this vision. So we want to thank you for that. It's very rewarding for us as a county staff to look at these types of things that you all have set out before us and to see the real results like this. So thank you. The expansion at our airport, the largest grant in the history of the State Aeronautics Commission. The asphalt runway is actually complete now. Carlos Salinas is back here with our airport director. Y'all allocated the money, we jumped right on it, and that airport runway the pavement is down. They've still got to do some of the taxiways, they've still got to stripe it, and then we're going to connect it over with the new facility that we have where the medevac helicopter is, and we're looking for future ideas for growth out there. So the expansion of our airport is a story that I think is unparalleled. Support of Pickens County businesses through Alliance Pickens, and you all creating not just someone in Alliance Pickens to go after big industry, which we've got that guy here, it's Ray Farley, and he's got a proven track record of doing that. But what about the small businesses? What about the mom and pops? You all set the vision of having someone that's dedicated to that. And you'll see Brittany with our office there at Alliance Pickens, who is Brittany Chapman, our small business liaison manager. She is in local businesses, small mom and pop businesses every week, checking on what they need, what their challenges are, and how can Alliance Pickens help them. That's a vision you all had, and we appreciate you instituting it. Gentlemen, we'd be remiss if we didn't recognize the 2 council members from District 1 and District 2. Inslee Feimster has been on county council since 2015. Trey Whitehurst has been on county council since 2011. I think that's right. I keep tripping over that date. Gentlemen, the work that you all have done over the last few years, not just in the last 2 years, but specifically these last 2 years, I want to let you know that county staff appreciates what you've done. You've supported us, you've given us a vision, and you've given us the room to implement that vision. And I want to say on behalf of these gentlemen and ladies here and the people that report to them and the entire county staff of public servants, thank you. Thank you, gentlemen. Mr. Chairman, thank you for this short amount of time to review the achievements for the last 2 years. I surrender back to you.
Thank you. And to that note, I want to say thank you for your service to this county since 2011. It has been a lot of work, and that's some of just a few fruits that have come from it. Thank you. Thank you. Same to you, Mr. Feimster. Thank you for your work and your dedication to this county. Again, that's just some of the small fruits that have come from all the work you've done. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Roper. The next item on tonight's agenda is our public forum. We do ask that you come, you share with us things that you feel important and issues that you just want to voice out to council. This is your opportunity to do that. Time is limited to 3 minutes per speaker, and that's just to ensure that we can have as much time as possible. If you have an item to give to council, we do ask that you give it to the clerk, or you pass it to the clerk so she can pass it around.
Mr. Chairman, it's my impression that there are a large number of folks here. Normally we limit it to 30 minutes. I'd like to move that we extend to include the opportunity for the folks that have signed up to all speak.
So I have a motion that we open it or include so that all folks that have signed up to speak have an opportunity to do that and lift the 30-minute time limit. I have a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, please signify by raising your hands. Thank you. Madam Clerk.
Mr. Chairman and members of council, I call Matt Chappell.
Good evening. The Highway 11 ordinance has wound its way through many meetings, phone calls, and studies and plans, and of course a few arguments. It's found its way here tonight. Tonight the County Council will vote on the most recent version of the plan to limit or restrict the land use rights of the people who own now or will in the future own land along Highway 11. This plan was placed and made public on the county's website sometime after 1 o'clock this afternoon, so I'm not real keen on what the actual verbiage is, but call it whatever you want to, whatever you want to call it, but that's what it is. It's limits and restrictions on that property. A restriction or limit on individual rights of individual property owners. Many are not people that knowingly moved into a subdivision with HOA covenants and restrictions. A lot of the people affected by these limits and restrictions are individuals that purchased or inherited land along the highway and did so as unrestricted. That's a big deal in the real estate world. Unrestricted property is highly sought after by buyers. I realize some of the landowners along the highway already live in a restricted subdivision along the road, are quite accustomed to being limited in the use of their property. And that's fine, and that's their business to decide where to live. It's also everyone else's business to decide where they live also. And they choose to live in unrestricted land and do with it what they choose. According to some, an overwhelming majority of the property owners along the road want to have their rights stripped away and to save a great view. And granted, the view is great. This being done in the name of preservation. If the overwhelming majority of landowners along 11 want the restrictions, then they can implement them themselves with deed restrictions on their own property. That'll limit forever the use of their property. Or they can do so by putting their land in a land trust or just by not selling it. They can give the land to the county or state to be used as a park or preserve. However, I'd be willing to bet that when it's time to dispense of their property, they'll be looking for the deepest pockets they can find. When you have an overwhelming majority that want a certain restriction placed on land, let them go first and do what Mr. Grant did and give up your land use rights and protect your land by placing it in a trust. He protected probably the most picturesque part of the whole highway, and he did that of his own free will. That was his choice to do that with his land. What's really happening is that many folks are demanding that something be done to protect the area, really only want it to be done to other people's land. They want the government to step in and force their beliefs on everyone. Don't get me wrong, I live up there, and I've lived there for 45 years. It's a beautiful area, and I'd hate to see any of the picturesque views marred with any kind of development. But what I hate more is seeing that so many people are so willing to give up other people's rights to save that view. The land that was clear-cut near Saluda Hill Road it's been a subject of a lot of conversations. It's apparently such a blight on the community. It was for sale for years, and anyone could have stepped up and bought that property.
Thank you, Mr.
I
Chapman.
encourage all councilmen to vote against this ordinance.
Ellen Akers.
Hi, I'm Ellen Akers. I'm an environmental engineer. I'm also a biologist and a chemist, and I am a property owner up there. And I deal with this, I've been dealing with this stuff for years, watching beautiful, irreplaceable lands getting taken over and destroyed. And so I really have a lot of, I care a lot about them. But what I don't want to happen is, we have what I see in a lot of the places is the local property owners, they get fed up or fed up with what's going on, too many people coming in, or they're taxed out of their property. And that allows entities with very deep pockets from all over the world to step in, and no matter what regulations y'all put in place, they'll find a way to get around it, and it will not be recognizable later, because no matter what you put in place for restrictions, there's always a way for some entities to get around them. And that's what I don't want to see. I think what we have here is we have beautiful character, we have a charming area. The local property owners, they want to keep it that way, and I think they've been doing a really good job keeping it that way up until now. So if you decide, if you think it's wise to put restrictions, maybe keep them to a minimum. I don't understand why there's a 1,000-foot buffer on the south side. I understand on the north side somewhat, but I don't really like it being so much on the south side, maybe in certain areas. One of the things that I think is extremely important, because of course hindsight is going to be 20/20 with this, is that we have a sunset clause, maybe 3-year. Things are changing very quickly. The area changes quickly, and we don't know, if you choose to put regulations, we don't know what impact that may have. And a sunset clause will force you to go back and give us time to really think about it in the area and maybe do it better, or roll them back and just get rid of them at all. I support no restrictions at all on residential at this point. In the 150-foot buffer, I don't have a problem with that. I do really appreciate good visibility, and hopefully DOT will take care of that. Commercial, and that can include industrial too. I agree, no heavy industrial if you put that in. But commercial, yeah, we don't want to have multifamily housing and strip malls and all. But again, let's start out at a minimum.
Thank you.
Okay.
Steve Lorch.
Thanks for allowing me to speak. My wife, Jennifer, and I are the owners of Table Rock Tea Company. I'm sure some of you have visited our farm. I would echo, well said, your thoughts as well. In general, I'm not a fan of restrictions on private land. That said, we are also very much about preserving this view. Those of you who have visited our farm know that we've put great effort and great expense into doing that. But I'm really here today, I guess, to encourage the council that kind of the way things have been presented is a little bit difficult. This was posted, this new ordinance was posted, I think, at 1:45. That's not a whole lot of time to really look things over and have an intelligent conversation about something that can affect so many people. The other thing that I would encourage you is, as a business owner on Highway 11, I would invite you to invite us. There are very few of us who own businesses on Highway 11, but to have a conversation, because a lot of us do have ideas on how to be able to capitalize on what we have, because there's a certain critical mass that's needed for business to survive, but we also want to see the preservation of Highway 11 as well. And we haven't really been engaged with you guys on that. So I would invite you to invite us to have those conversations, because I think you'll find that we want to see this highway preserved as well. It's a beautiful thing. It's part of our brand, the fact that we have such beauty. That's why people come. So, yeah, and then just a lot of opinions are given weight from folks that really don't have skin in the game. I'm an entrepreneur. I have skin in the game, bone in the game, blood in the game, vital organs in the game. I can't tell you how many times we've ponied up our life savings to build our farm. But then there are a lot of opinions from people that don't even own property that's frontage on Highway 11. It's not that your opinions aren't valid. It's just that they don't have the same weight. The best way to preserve land is just like Hoyt Grant, myself, Tom Baer. We've all said, okay, a piece is coming up for sale. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I guess we'll just pony up our life savings again and buy that parcel to preserve it. That's the best way to protect it. But anyway, just talk with those of us who are in business, have those conversations, but these aren't really the best forums to have those conversations, because there are details that take a lot more time than 3 minutes. So anyway, thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Vicky Perez.
I don't think I can top those two. On what they said, I agree with them all the way around. But my family does own land on Highway 11. Most of you know that. Highway 11 came through my family's land 55 years ago. I was 2 years old. On Sunset side of Highway 11, there hasn't been that much change. And so we're grateful for that, and a lot of it's because our family is preserving the land. I get nervous. Anyway, the first time we heard about anything was in August. And that's when our family, my cousins, our friends that live on our side of Highway 11 has been voicing we didn't want a 1,000-foot overlay. And y'all have been listening, and y'all are working on that. And it looks like we're gonna have to be doing some compromise, because we didn't want big subdivisions or commercials or anything. But in the proposal, you're proposing 10 houses per subdivision or less. My question is, well, how many acres are you going to consider to be a subdivision as well? I mean, I'm just trying to figure that out, or that's just a question I have. And then with the commercial and all that, like the tea company and Aunt Sue's and all that, or if more commercial comes, are you going to limit, say, how many miles away from one to the other? Because, I mean, I'm just asking, because it's going to hurt the mom and pop places that are up there now. And I'd hate to see that hurt. But I would love to see it preserved somehow, some way. And I think we all just need to come together and discuss it and not go from one end to not enough, but there is a happy medium, and I don't know if we're there yet. And my thing to you is, if you don't think we're really there yet, I'd like for you to not propose this to go through right now. And that's all I'm asking. If you feel like we're there, then, you know, I want you to do what's best. Thank you.
Thank you.
Kevin Keller.
Hello, my name is Kevin Keller. I live at 116 Dorothy Lane. I appreciate your efforts, but I'm disappointed in this ordinance because the corridor is too diverse for a one-size-fits-all approach. There are areas that can be commercial, and there are areas that should not be commercial. I've said this before, and I still don't understand why the county can't make a plan with more details, restrict usage, zone, or otherwise control the future development in some kind of detail as recommended by ACOG. other than this one ordinance that applies to such a large, diverse strip of land. I hope this can be rectified in the future. The council has tried to make everyone happy with this ordinance and has ended up allowing almost everything as long as it looks pretty enough in some future planner's evaluation. Before my wife and I moved to South Carolina, we had moved to our previous home because it was isolated, wooded, close to a big lake, and nothing but residential development. There was no water or sewer, no big highways, and no reason for development. It was just like many areas along Highway 11. Over a period of 20 years, in spite of trying to work with the county to keep the area low-density residential as designated, it was no use. Soon came water and sewer, a high school, apartments, strip malls, fast food restaurants, chain link fences, crime. We bought our house here in South Carolina almost 7 years ago to get away from all that, and I'm seeing deja vu. I believe the people wanting to make commercial money on their strip of land on 11 and the big money interests looking to build up there will not put respect for the area or the residents above the dollar. And I'm concerned we will soon end up with a mess. Maybe an attractive mess, but a mess all the same. Freedom to do what you want is called anarchy. America is a nation of laws, and as such, we do not allow anarchy. People do not have the right to do whatever they want. They have the right to do whatever they should do within the law. And one of those things is to respect their fellow citizens and take care of what we have here. Unfortunately, human tendency is towards selfish interest. I've seen it posted on social media and heard it at the meetings about this issue. It seems the only hope is that the land bank will be able to purchase property and keep more of the area undeveloped. But I've already heard opposition to this because people think it means more taxes, and many will fight against it, regardless of the benefit. I'll probably be lucky to get another 20 years living in my home, but in the meantime, my wife and I will enjoy our place while it lasts. We'll continue to do what we can to preserve the area and pray that it's still as attractive an area to live as it is now. But I really doubt it. I've been down this path the county's following now, and it doesn't have a good destination. Thank you.
Thank you.
Paulette Keller.
My name is Polly Keller, and I live at 116 Dorothy Lane. I read the ordinance. Even though I had to wait until right before the third reading to actually see it, I was told the public couldn't view it sooner because the council needed to read it first. Well, if you all hadn't read this prior to a couple hours before this meeting, then the public comments about your preparedness are true. This last-minute tactic doesn't build trust nor transparency. I have attended almost every meeting for Highway 11. I have heard you say to my face that you will protect it, and only to witness you flip-flop at the last minute, allowing commercialization and industrialization along the entire highway. I have lived in other states, witnessed county governments allow destruction of natural resources, lakes polluted by allowing commercial nurseries dumping pesticides and herbicides into the groundwater. Land was deemed too residential, made backdoor deals, allowed commercial and industrial to increase tax revenue. The result, the increase in county taxes, knocked out small farms and retirement property, became unaffordable only to big corporations. Single-family residential was changed to multifamily apartments, townhomes, condos, bringing in transient populations with no sense of pride to the area. The result was litter and crime. Beautiful mountains, ironically deemed undevelopable, soon were sold to big corporations. The mountain became the high-end ski resort community that destroyed the wildlife, flooded the area with lights, and unaffordable to the local landowners. I do not trust this council to act altruistically to preserve this area. Take, for example, the corner of 135 and 183. The property was zoned low-impact commercial, designated for office buildings. The county made an exception. It's now a scrapyard. It's located next to and across from residential properties. I have attended South Carolina county, city, and state meetings, heard some troubling and disturbing things. from a local business owner, small business owner, telling me that you must give to a politician to get something back. And that's just the way it happens in small towns. To a local representative saying that he is proud to be, unquote, constituent services. And most disturbing, I was told that you can't do the right thing if you want to have influence. That was disturbing to me. Politics is changing in the United States and in South Carolina, and people are fed up with being gaslit, fed up with government representatives not being interested in only their own reelection and their self-interest. I'm in favor of preserving the natural resources along Highway 11. I am opposed to the commercialization and industrialization of the entire corridor. I hope that this council will not be short-sighted. I do not support any council member who allows this destruction to commence.
Thank you, Ms.
Even
Keller.
though it is
Thank you, Ms.
against the
Keller.
norm, I implore you to do the right thing and preserve
Ms.
this
Keller.
resource.
Thank you.
Gary Stash.
Thank you. I think it wouldn't be a good idea to reiterate what my neighbors have said, so I only have one thing to say. I say, we hired you guys to take care of us. We hired you to look out for us. Now, here's your chance to look out for us. I don't know of anybody that in my neighborhood or that lives along 11 who has said, give us commercialization. We've all said, keep it just like it was before. That's all I have to say. You have a job, let's do it.
Thank you, Mr. Stash.
Jan McCrary.
Good evening. I'm Jan Childress McCrary. I also am a property owner on Highway 11. I'm sorry. I would like to ask council to vote in favor of the third reading. I understand compromise, and I agree with what has been said here tonight. There is a compromise in there. I applaud each of you. You've worked very long and very hard to get, hopefully, to offer us something that is a compromise for everyone. For me as a landowner, I have heard you say that you respect private property rights. I'm fine to give up my property to provide a buffer. I am also asking council to consider the length of time this has been in limbo. People that aren't settled on their property really can't do anything with it. It's just sitting. So I'm asking you respectfully tonight to vote in favor of this third reading so that we can move forward. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tommy Hendricks.
Appreciate the opportunity to speak tonight to you guys. My name's Tommy Hendricks. I live 211 Rockcrest Road. I take care of a small tree farm within 1,000 feet of SC 11 on the north side. My granddad bought the land in 1890. My family's been there ever since. And I take care of this tree farm. Through the years, my granddad grew cotton up to about 1920s. Then it wouldn't grow anymore or couldn't sell it, and they started growing trees. And it's paid for my grandmother and grandfather's funeral, my mother and father's funeral, my brother's funeral over the years by the selling of these trees. If this is a land where there's no sewer or water service, the chances of a big machinery tool company or anything going there is almost impossible that I can see. I don't know how they get sewer service. I don't know how they get water service. They'd have to dig their own wells and stuff. The land around me hadn't changed very much over the years. It seems, I worked for the Department of Transportation 33 years. I'm a registered professional engineer in the state of South Carolina. And at the department, we had to compensate property owners when the road was built and when we took their land or changed the usage of their land. And I don't understand how my land can be, the usage be changed drastically without compensation. I'm at a loss. I don't understand that. Another thing, the bill came online today, and I had to go on, I found something on Facebook. I hadn't heard much about this, you see, for the last, I've heard rumors for a couple of months, but I really hadn't heard very much. And I found the addition to the third reading on Facebook today. Somebody popped it up on Facebook, somebody from out here. Now, that's not a good way to find things out, so I may be a little upset, I may be a little hard to speak to something that you really don't know that much about, but I'd appreciate it if we could be treated like the other folks, the districts in the county. There's other beautiful views in the county. Tater Hill, pretty. Glassy Mountain's pretty. 6 Mile Mountain's pretty. No restrictions on the folks that live near there. I would ask that you vote against any restrictions on South Carolina 11 in our area. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Stanley Osowicki.
Good evening, distinguished gentlemen. Name's Stan Osowicki. I moved down here from upstate New York. About 34 years ago, I picked this county for one particular reason. It was a beautiful place. Everything I needed was here. Carpenter, plumbing, electrical, everything you needed here was here, nice. Now it's all changed. It's completely changed. I've seen it going year by year by year by year going up. And it's disgusting. I plead for these people. They're right about Route 11. I come out of Easley up 135. Trash all over the darn place. Why? Because they're not picking it up. Why? Because people just throw it out there. You had an advertisement on TV just recently about litter. Take care of your garbage and stuff like that. You used to have an ordinance here before about covering your trash up with a net or something before you came up to these dumpsters, okay? Dumpsters on 183, that's where I'm cornered in that area there. I mean, I get litter all the time. I police up the highway. This is ridiculous. You're gonna do the same thing this beautiful Route 11. My wife and I come up here to look at this stuff up here. She'd turn over in her grave right now. She's seen what's going on up in here. I lost her just recently here, and I'm married another woman. But the main thing is, it's a shame. It really is a shame. I mean, put the net device out. People are coming in from Greenville counties, coming in with their trash and garbage. You're talking about that? What about stopping them? You put stickers on his cars to make sure that we don't, another people come in from this county because it's filling our landfill. Now, my wife here now filters everything, takes everything out of the garbage that's supposed to be out of the garbage. I burn what I can because I'm in the country a little bit. I got a trash barrel to burn and everything else like that. I burn a lot of my trash. And she still does it to this day, siphons everything out of it. But now they tell you, throw everything in there. They don't care now, just throw everything into the garbage. Bottles, cans, you name it, they just throw it in the garbage. Now what good is all these rules you come up with, but you're not enforcing them? Do something about the trash. That's what's gonna happen in Route 11. I mean, it's a beautiful place. We love going up there, going past those beautiful lakes in there, it's nice and clean and everything else like that there. And what's happening? We're gonna lose it all. All you people, I really feel sorry for you. I own nothing up there. I have nothing. I got land right there at 135 going into Easley. They just ruined my area because they're putting that big development up there, 140 some homes or whatever they're gonna be, apartments or dwellings or whatever they're doing. I had a nice field there, but I could see the deer cross over to my land, go through the subdivision, the Birdine Springs subdivision, and it was gorgeous to see it. Bears too. We had 2 bears come through that area, and it was great. But we ain't gonna see that no more.
Thank you, sir.
It's gone.
Thank you.
It's all gone. You've got to do something about these ordinances.
Sir.
Start forcing people to
Thank
find
you,
them.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jeff Derrick.
I'm Jeff. Good to speak before you guys tonight. I don't live on Highway 11. I grew up in Easley, live in Pickens. I want to speak to you guys as a perspective. Well, I'm looking at your logo, Pickens County, South Carolina logo, right? what I see. Table Rock, I don't see a Family Dollar, okay? I don't see a strip mall. That's not gonna happen. We don't have infrastructure on Highway 11 to promote a strip mall industrial. What we need to do, okay? I was in high school when they paved Highway 11. I'm an old man. It's been 50-something years ago. It hadn't changed that much. And we're afraid now, if we don't protect this area, and it's a very beautiful area, a very short stretch is what we're asking for to protect the area. I understand property rights. Look, I live on Ann Street in Pickens. I got setbacks, it's unreal, right? Right now, I think the setback on Highway 11 from the center of the road from the state is 66 feet, right? Let's add another, I think it is. Am I wrong? You shaking your head no, Chris?
No, I'm not shaking my head no.
Okay, I'm just saying, it's already a setback that needs to be more. You know, you got Aunt Sue's, right? That's the icon. You got the pumpkin down at the Storytelling Center. That's the icon. But what more do we need? We don't need development. We don't want to take property owners' rights away. We just need a setback. And we need to make sure industrial, commercial don't move in. I support whoever has presented this to council, whether it's Alex or Trey or Henry. I've seen the battle on Facebook between a couple of you guys, which, you know, this is a county. We don't need to fuss and bicker. Let's work it out. Let's work it out. It's pretty obvious we want something done to protect this area. I support, look, table this idea tonight. Just table it. Don't vote on it. Table it, give it another 3 months, talk about it. Table the idea, okay? And work it out. We voted you guys in. We can vote you out too. So work on it and make this work for everybody, including the property owners and including the people that want to protect your logo right there, okay? Thank you.
Thank you.
Maria Bush. You don't want to speak? Okay. Callie Hendricks. Callie Hendricks. Mr. Chairman and members of council, this concludes public forum.
Thank you, ma'am. Our fourth item on tonight's agenda is approval of minutes. I'll ask for a motion to approve the minutes for the November 7th, 2022 meeting. I have a motion by Councilman Feimster. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Wilson. Discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you, gentlemen. Fifth item on tonight's agenda is the administrator's report. The chair recognizes Mr. Roper, the county administrator, for his report.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, and I appreciate the time you've already given me, so I won't take up a lot of time, but I do want to point out, really, I think it's 3 quick things. One is we always want to take an opportunity to celebrate when Pickens County's been recognized on a state level, and I have a very unique award. I've never seen an award like this. The plaque is on the side like that, but this is the Innovision Award. This was a competitive award that was sponsored by the South Carolina Research Authority and some other folks. 2022 Community Service Award to Pickens County. This is in recognition, Mr. Chairman, of something you worked on personally in your professional capacity, along with the collaboration manager, Jessica Varney, and other folks, our Veteran Affairs Officer, for our crisis intercept mapping for suicide prevention among veterans and service members and their families. So we were very heartened to be recognized on a state level for that initiative, trying to find gaps in the system to address those gaps for those, heroes that live in Pickens County that might be suffering. So I just wanted to point that out and to thank all of those involved and to recognize that Pickens County has been recognized on this state level. Also, we talked about our LEAPS program and the folks that are involved in that. I want to tell you that we've had 5 more graduates through the National Association of Counties Professional Development Academy. This was a program that was started by former General Colin Powell, teaching leadership skills. Our own Kendall Black, Angela Hayes, Justin Howard, Brandon Looper, future leaders of our organization have been trained. And then your clerk, Megan Nations, also went through the program this time and did really well. She was a little annoyed that my face popped up in one of the videos, I think, because she sent me a picture of that. But anyway, wanted to let you know that they all completed, and we're very proud to see this next generation of leaders investing in themselves with their time and in public service. And then finally, gentlemen, we're announcing a temporary closure just for a couple of weeks of the Pickens County Museum over the holiday season. So it will close down on December 17th and reopen on January 3rd. During this time, we're going to do a deep cleaning. We're going to rearrange some exhibits, and we'll bring it back online on January 3rd. We're looking at some changes that we'll make, and we'll update you after the first of the year on those, potentially looking at some Saturday hours to try to drive more people into the museum. But I wanted to let you all know about that. Gentlemen, in the interest of time, that's all I have, other than to ask that you add to executive session tonight an update on Project MADE. No action will be requested tonight, but we do want to brief you on an economic development initiative from Alliance Pickens on Project MADE. Other than that, gentlemen, do you have any questions I could answer at this time?
Any questions for Mr. Roper tonight?
Mr. Chairman, I have some questions.
Councilman Seta.
Which recycle centers now have 2 attendants?
There's a handful of them that have 2 attendants now. Bestpac, Easley, North Old Pendleton, and Chastain Road. Those would be the most busy ones. Have 2 attendants now working at each station.
Do you plan on adding more attendants?
We've got a couple of vacancies right now, and we're looking for, when we hire employees, we'll fill out the last one that we really have the capacity to put 2 attendants at, which will be at Midway.
Midway, okay. Are you sorting, all the stations sorting plastics in those sort of pre-bins that we used to have?
Yes, they are. We're back to fully sorting plastics. Okay. We're also sorting metal now. You may have noticed this. Used to be that we didn't care about the metal cans mixed in with the aluminum. Now we do care because the metal cans are worth more than the aluminum, so we're also sorting those.
Okay. There's 8 recycle centers. There's 16 compactors.
That's right.
What's the condition of those compactors?
There might not be 16. I don't have that current number. I don't think.
You don't think it's 2 each?
I don't think there's 2 in each one. There might be one that just has 1. But that being said, one thing this council has done over the last couple of years is provided in the capital improvement plan that we replace 2 every year. And the solid waste director, Steve Raines, tells me that's a sustainable.
We're okay. We're okay on that?
Sustainable process.
Tell me, I mean, I know that one of the compactors down at Table Rock is tore up pretty bad. When is that going to be replaced?
It's actually being replaced this week. I think they're supposed to finish up this week, and once they're done with that, the other contract, the other one that's set to be replaced is at Bestpac.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Other questions for Mr. Roper? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next item on tonight's agenda, and that's the committee report. The committee of the whole was held on November 21st, 2022. Log number 141, the UDSO was discussed with no action taken by the committee. Log number 210, capital improvement plan update was discussed, no action taken by the committee. Log number 205, an ordinance to establish standards and limitations on future development on the South Carolina Highway 11 scenic byway and matters related thereto. After much discussion between council and staff, Vice Chairman Costner made a motion for the following recommendations. Motion seconded by Councilman Whitehurst, and the recommendations are 150-foot buffer, no heavy industrial, commercial design standards fall within the view shed. Vice Chairman Costner amended his motion to include the 1,000-foot north and south and view shed as depicted in red on the map. Councilman Wilson seconded the motion. Seeing no other discussion, the motion carried 4-1 with Councilman Seta opposed. No second is required tonight as this comes as a recommendation from the committee. Do I have discussion?
Mr. Chairman.
Vice Chairman.
So I find it remarkable that currently there is nothing on Highway 11. There's no restrictions at all. There's nothing in place at all. We began this process at least a year ago formally, even farther than that, beyond even my term in the past 6 years of previous councils doing this. It's and I'm jotting down all my notes from what everyone is saying and listening to the folks that are saying vote against it, keep it the way it is, and folks saying pass it or compromise or take 3 more months to figure out what we can do. Currently, there isn't anything in place. So what we were looking to do is to put something in place that protected personal property rights, which is the foundation of my foundation of why I ran, and also the Fifth Amendment to the Constitution. The compromise is in that saying that we don't want to tell you what you can do with your land, but if you're going to be within that view shed or within that range that we've described, let's be frugal with it. Let's take care of it, just like the gentleman from the tea company was talking. So unless there's a different conversation with you guys, I like the way that this ordinance is written, and I'm anxious to hear your points.
Councilman Feebster.
I think one of the things that people don't realize is that I'm sure there are going to be some minor things that can be improved on this, and we can improve on it once we get it out there and people see what's in it, then it can be improved.
Other discussion?
Mr. Chairman,
Councilman Seda.
I read the ordinance closely. I'm actually calling it the Highway 11 Land Development Act of 2022. I think that section of Highway 11, our section, will look very much like Oconee section in time, and that's very unfortunate. We had 4 choices here. One choice was to do nothing, to do very little, do not enough, or do what was required to keep the highway scenic as it is now. I think the plan does very little, actually. It allows manufacturing, it allows commercial, it allows subdivision developments all along the highway. It really just controls the looks of those things. The dollar stores will come in time. They're just going to look like a tree. I think you're going to see storage warehouses. They're going to just look like the side of a mountain. Nobody up there wants that, unfortunately. If you went to the meetings like I did, and I went to most all of them, and you talk to those that live on the highway, a large majority don't want new commercial, they don't want new manufacturing, they don't want new subdivisions on the highway. If you actually read the ACOG report, it states, and I'll quote, almost all the feedback we received did not support any type of manufacturing developed along the corridor, yet manufacturing is allowed in this plan. There's 4 things about the plan I don't like, and I want to detail them. The first thing is it allows what they call light manufacturing all along the highway. Light manufacturing is defined as plants up to 200,000 square feet and no more than 500 employees per shift. As a comparison, Liberty High School is 180,000 square feet. That's a pretty big plant in Pickens County. That would be a manufacturing plant. The definition of light manufacturing includes things like wholesale warehouses, carpet and rug plants, equipment storage yards, not on a scenic highway. Doesn't make any sense to me. People will say, and they've said it tonight, it's never going to happen up there. But, I'm looking out over the next 25 years, and you really don't know what's going to happen. Water systems are built, sewer systems are built, and things have changed. The second thing is the plan allows commercial development all along Highway 11, and most importantly, at 6 intersections up closer to the road. This would allow a restaurant to be built right across from Grant Meadow or Table Rock Mountain at the corner of Carrot Creek Road. I don't think that's a good idea. Commercial buildings on Highway 11, according to this ordinance, could be up to 3.5 stories high. The third thing was the issue with the process, and a lot of you talked about it tonight. How the public, I thought, was left behind. I mean, the first year, there was a lot of public meetings, there was a lot of public input. It all centered around a plan that was 660 feet off of the highway or 1,000 feet off the highway. And towards the end of the process, there were just 4 or 5 proposals that were just thrown out there by the council, and the public was left behind. People were calling me, asking me this and that about the ordinance. I had no idea. And I think I would bet that most who are actually in the zone area right now have no clue they're in the zoned area, as this just came out at 1:30. The way it should work is you should take this final plan now. You should have 1 or 2 public meetings, notice the public about that, present the plan to the public, hand out the copies, solicit input, listen to that input, and then vote. That's what should happen. That's not happening, unfortunately. That's bad government process for something the size and scope of this. The 150-foot barrier that they talk about, or buffer, provides next to no additional protections, in my opinion. Aunt Sue's closest building is 150 feet back. Most commercial buildings you see on Highway 11 now are 150 feet back. So going forward, you're just going to have those plus a lot more like them. I did 3 or 4 mailers on Highway 11. I knocked a lot of doors on Highway 11. I chatted with people on Highway 11. The overwhelming majority of people wanted no new manufacturing, no new commercial, no new subdivisions. They wanted unrestricted residential lots in a narrow corridor around Highway 11, which we talked about for the first 18 months. And I vocally supported that. I said that many times over. And I heard the property rights argument. I got it. If it wasn't a scenic highway with a national designation, I would agree. But the highway deserves an exception. So I supported putting land restrictions in that narrow corridor of 1,000 feet around the highway. I support residential only on Highway 11, single lot homes. Residential areas, only areas, are all over the county. They're all over the state. They're all over the country. They're very legal. They're not a violation of constitutional rights. If you had a residential area like on Glassy Mountain Street, if you lived there and you wanted to put a Dollar General there and they denied your permit and then you turn around and sued the city, you'd lose in court. It's been supported. You know, these kind of regulations are supported. The bottom line is this, is if you don't hold on to what you have, because the way things are changing so much around here, in the end, that's all you're going to have left. And we saw that. We lost the 2 mountain schools up at Holly Springs and A.R. Lewis. Looks like that historic water tower is going to come down. And now we're going to lose our scenic highway. It's really sad. In 25 years, I think you're going to look back at this place and you're not going to recognize it unless some bold action is taken. And for that reason, I am not voting for this.
Other discussion? Other discussion? Councilman Whitehurst.
I appreciate your opinion on this. I heard tonight from about 50-50 in favor of some sort of restriction. In your plan, we're only looking at 1,000 feet. So if we're to do what Councilman Seda is suggesting, you could put a 200,000 square foot heavy industrial facility outside of that 1,000 square feet. There's no protections beyond that whatsoever. So it's what we're trying to do is to put some reasonable protections in, and at the same time try to protect some property rights. No one's going to put a 200,000 square foot facility in 1,000 feet. The idea of this idea of this light industrial being a 200,000 square foot carpet building in 1,000 foot barrier is just not possible. Okay, so it's a little weak on the scare tactics of somebody putting in a carpet manufacturing place in 1,000 foot barrier. But if we went with what he's originally suggesting, they could certainly do it outside of that. What we have come up with is to say, listen, 150 foot barrier, which is a natural barrier. Okay, you're not going to see all the stores on the side of the road. The ones that are there are going to be there. But we want property owners to have their property rights, and that is the foundation of this country. And at the same time, try to protect a little bit of the view. So a 150-foot barrier allows people to do that behind there. If you're going to have this no light industrial, then their tea company doesn't exist anymore. You know, you don't have a tree farm. You don't have those options. We've worked long and hard to try to come up with some sort of a compromise here. Not everyone's going to be happy. Not everyone on this board is happy. But right now, there are no restrictions, as Councilman Costner said. And I believe having a buffer and then having some property rights behind that is a fair compromise. So I'm going to be voting in favor of it.
Other discussion?
If you don't mind.
Dr. Wilson.
Is Chris Lawless here? Chris, you got big shoes to fill. Good Lord. I don't know what I can say here to add to what you've stated, except for there's no line to be drawn when it comes to protecting people's property rights. Mr. Seda talked about other counties and other communities, but this is Pickens County. And I'll just say, you know, I took an oath when I took this job, but I also took an oath when I joined the service, and I'll never forget Chief Petty Officer from the Navy. He said, "You probably join in the military to go to college." And he's like, "That'd be great if that happens for you." He said, "You probably join in to get skills, life skills. That'd be great if it happens for you. But the reality is you're joining the military to protect the Constitution. And you might have to lose your life to do that." I hope that I don't have to lose my life up here, but by God, I can vote to protect the Constitution. And so I am not going to say on camera that I would be happy with stepping on people's property rights. You're going to have to own that, sir. What I will tell you is, when we first started, I thought we were going to take a big swing and do wonderful things that would probably make most of the folks in the room happy. But those things bumped right up against property rights at every step. And this is still Pickens County. And if we can't hold the line on protecting the Constitution, if we can't hold the line on doing what's right for the folks and own the property, I don't know who else, where else is going to, because we're going to have to. And so as much as I would like to do a lot of great things, I don't want anybody here coming and telling me what we can do on our property. I don't want to be responsible for taking away your property rights. And I understand that over time, like Mr. Feemster said, we may find that there's some room collaboratively. But we had a moratorium and then an extension, and it ends soon. And we either take action or we go back to the drawing board. And keep in mind, it took 40 years or more to get a council with the courage that you saw exemplified in that long list of accomplishments that Mr. Roper talked about. It took 40 years to get this combination of courage. And we're not going to get perfection, but we are going to take an action that's going to be meaningful in the lives of our children and our grandchildren. And we're going to do it by, again, holding the line against stepping on people's property rights. And if you can't stand up and defend the Constitution as an elected official in this country, where are we going? Well, I'm not going to step on your property rights. I'm going to respect it. And I didn't hear an overwhelming majority of folks on Highway 11 said they wanted us to strip them of property rights. I heard a casual minority that may have said something similar to that, but I heard a lot of folks say, stand up, support us, defend us, and let us do with our property what we want, and we'll take care of it and protect it. I heard that. That's what my vote's going to reflect. And I absolutely appreciate the fact that we've been through this incredible process that represents what I think is good government. Nobody on this board is getting 100% of what they want. None of us. But we're going to vote for it. We're going to be adults, and we're going to vote for it. We're going to move forward with this. And then we're going to listen to you guys. If this thing doesn't work out, we'll make tweaks. We'll make adjustments. And we'll hopefully demonstrate responsible governance. So again, I'm going to vote for it because I think it's the best combination of the pushing and pulling that we've done over this long period of time. And then I will say, I represent the Dacusville area. And I have not heard a single person from the Dacusville area that would support stepping on y'all's folks' property rights that own that land up there. So you've got good neighbors and good stewards, and they're holding me accountable. And not just a ballot box, but they hold me accountable when I make eye contact with them, when I walk into a store, when I see them at Walmart, when we meet at the Christmas parade. And I am for sure going to look those folks in the eye and say, I think I did what was right on first principle. And first principle as an elected official has to be defend that Constitution and defend your rights. That's where I stand.
I just wanted to point out one thing, and I wanted to apologize to Steve, and I don't know your last name, I'm sorry, Table Rock Tea Company. You're right, that's one of the gentleman that had the trees, the tree farm since 1890, Mr. Hendricks. That is a place where I think we failed to reach out and hear your opinions too. So yeah, I want to formally invite you to sit down and let's talk about ways that we can help you and hear your story whenever we can set that up. That was one of the things that I took note of, that we listened to people on both sides, but really didn't talk to and I knew about the tea farm. I know about the guys who own the land for the trees, and I know about Aunt Sue's, and I did talk to some of the folks from Aunt Sue's, but we didn't really have a forum for that. So I just wanted to apologize for that. Thank you.
Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Opposed? Thank you. Item 7 on tonight's agenda is council correspondence. There'll be no committee of the whole meeting during the month of December. Non-essential county offices will be closed on Friday, December 23rd, and Monday, December 26th for the Christmas holiday. Non-essential offices will reopen on Tuesday, December 27th at 8 a.m. Non-essential county offices will be closed on January 2nd for the New Year holiday, and we'll reopen on Tuesday, January 3rd. We'll also be holding a swearing-in ceremony and organizational meeting will take place on Tuesday, January 3rd at 6 o'clock here in council chambers. Are there any other correspondence that need to be announced? Hearing none, item 8 on tonight's agenda is motion period new business. I would like to make a motion that we add project made to executive session for discussion purpose only.
Second.
I have a second by Vice Chairman. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by raising your hand. Thank you, gentlemen. Any other new motions or business? Hearing none. Item 9 on tonight's agenda is public hearing for the renaming of the Pickens County Law Enforcement Center located at 216 C. David Stone Road to the C. David Stone Pickens County Law Enforcement Center. I gavel us in for public hearing. Is there anyone that would like to comment on this renaming? Hearing none, I'll close public comment at this time, or public hearing at this time. Item 10 on tonight's agenda is the presentation of the fiscal year 2022 audit.
You not vote on that?
Oh, my apologies, my apologies. Let me back up to item 9.
Mr. Chairman, we apologize. It doesn't really list that, but you do actually have to pass a resolution.
You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. So I ask for a motion for a resolution to rename the County Law Enforcement Center located at 216 C. David Stone Road.
I'll make that motion.
I have a motion from Councilman Wilson.
Second.
Second by Councilman Feimster. Discussion.
I went to a camp, if you don't mind. I went to a camp as a middle schooler that the Sheriff's Department put on. You were probably part of that up at Camp Cove Creek. It was for potential future customers of the Sheriff's Department and the police departments. They looked for every scoundrel-looking kid around the county and took them up there and treated them well. David Stone, Kenneth Holcomb, lots of good fellows. Recognizing the contribution of Sheriff Stone, not only just in my childhood, but just as a law officer and leader in the community, I think it's a huge opportunity for us. I hope that this passes all the way through.
Thank you. I have a motion. Second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you, gentlemen. Now, item number 10, presentation of fiscal year 2022 audit by Sherry Beckert.
Chairman, Mr. Robinson with Cherry Beckert is here to present the audit.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Alan Robinson. I'm with the CPA firm of Cherry Beckert, and here to comment on the results of the audit of the financial statements for the fiscal year ended June 30, 2022. On behalf of my team of Roselle Benoit, Lacey Grimm, and Ron Conrad, we are presenting our what we call an unmodified or clean audit report. We've delivered to council in the administration via PDF the financial statement. I believe it's up to a 143-page document this year for your review, and we'd be glad to answer any questions about it tonight or in a later conversation. A couple of comments about the audit. We start the process all the way back in April with planning. We wait until the books are closed to come in and do the audit of the final numbers. A couple of insights. We like to give transparency into the process, but a couple of comments that stand out is that we're not reporting any material weaknesses in internal control. We're not reporting any adjustments or error corrections. That means that the books, as presented by the council staff, did not require auditor correction. That's quite an accomplishment on their part. The audit proceeded on time and on schedule with no extra billings. We always like to comment on that. Nothing really disrupted the process. But please look through the document itself. I know it's a big read, but the MD&A, the Management Discussion and Analysis, has lots of good summary information as well as the detailed footnotes. Those are really all the comments that I have. I'm not going to comment on the details of this massive document, but Ralph Garino and I would be happy to answer any questions either tonight or in a later setting.
Councilman Whitehurst.
Ralph, how long has Alan and Jerry Becker been working with us?
I believe it's since fiscal year 2008.
This accounting firm, this is a huge project we do every year. And they have every year consistent. Alan has been in charge of that. And I've happened to have been here all the years that he's come up here and presented. And we've never had a modified report. There's never had to been extra billing for having to go through and fix things. They've always done it on time, on budget, and accurately. And I just want to say how much I appreciate that, how much this council appreciates you and your company and what you've done, and Ralph, your job with this. This is a huge deal to go through. This is a requirement every year, a complete and full audit of everything a $70 million a year company does. So thank you and your company. Please extend that on to your partners.
Thank you, Mr. Whitehurst. Thank you.
Vice Chairman.
Mr. Chairman, I just want to make a comment that I want to echo what he said. Thank you. I know, and Ralph, that good report for you, huh? You obviously are doing an exceptional job, and I also want to thank you for not reading the entire report.
Other questions, comments?
I'd like to make a comment.
Councilman Seda.
Typically, the cash on hand to budget ratio should be about 15 to 20%, or a little bit over 2 months. When you look at the general fund account, there was about $44.6 million cash on hand against a budget of $52 million. That's about 85%. I know some of that is assigned, but that's still a large over collection in my opinion. The library account, when you look at that, is $3.6 million cash on hand versus a budget annually of $3.6 million, or 100%. When you look at all the accounts across the board, cash balance is $66 million, or 90% of the $73 million in total spending. All this is excessive. Over collections, it all points to over collections. I think at the end of the year, the fair thing to do would be to return some of this to the taxpayer with a lower property tax rate. And I think it would help give people a little bit of a break with all the inflation that's chewing into their real household income. The over collections are excessive.
Point of order, because we're discussing the audit.
Yeah.
So I guess, is there a question about the audit specifically?
No, I read the audit and I had a statement for the public record.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Sada.
Very good. Again, I think, would like to thank Ralph and Jody and their team for getting us to this point here tonight. Accurate work, on time and on schedule. Thank you very much, guys. And thank you.
Thank you. Item 11 on tonight's agenda is removal of items from the committee log. Our committee log is obviously full, and this is the time of year where everything automatically purges unless it is voted to be kept. Going through the log, we can go through it item by item. And Madam Clerk, is that what we normally do? Okay, just making sure. So the first item is log number 80, which is the county radio system. The last action was taken on that on the 17th of October. I would like to make a motion that we keep that because that is still a live project.
Second.
Mr.
You want to go through and then make a motion on all?
Mr. Chair, I was going to make a suggestion if we could just go through the ones and mark the ones you want to take off and make a motion to.
There you go.
To take them all off at the same time.
I would like to leave the county radio system. Request to accept roads in the minimum maintenance system. The last time that we had a meeting regarding that would have been January of 19. I don't know of a reason that we'll need that in place at this time.
I agree.
Log 105 is E911. The last time we met there was January of 21. I don't feel like there's a reason to keep that on at this time. Fort Prince George, log number 109. I know the last time we met was in 19, but that is an ongoing topic. I feel like that one should be left on.
Yes, I agree.
Ordinance number 572, amending Article 1 of Chapter 34 of the Pickens County Code of Ordinances, and is to provide remedies and penalties for illegal litter and dumping in the unincorporated areas of Pickens County and matters related thereto. The last time we met on that one was March of this year. I believe that one's still a very hot topic. Opportunity zones was 8/13 of 19. I don't know of anything going on there. Solar farm ordinance, the last time we met there and discussed it was in 2020.
Did we ever come up with an ordinance about that?
Mr. Chairman, and correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think we did. It was basically, go ahead.
It was first reading. It was a specific industry that came with a proposal, and they were asking us to make the ordinance fit that specific, but that proposal died, so.
Yeah. So, item 133, solid waste needs. The last time that actually came up in committee was July of 21.
And I would suggest we leave that if it suits you all, because the ad hoc's work continues, but it'll need to be validated in the new council.
Yeah. 134, mental health, 125 of 21. I believe we need to leave that one with this recent opioid stuff going on. It ties right in. Discuss policy behind reserving county property. The last time action was taken there, or we met about that, was in April of 21. I don't know of why we need to leave that one unless someone does. Census discussion. The census has passed. I'd be for removing that one. Discussion of county road user fee and alternatives. I believe we have taken action on that one. Discuss insurance options. February of 20 was the last time log item 140 was touched. UDSO, the last time we met there was actually last month. And there's still work to be done on that. Discussion of the old jail, there was action taken in March. I believe we need to keep that one in place because there are items that go with that one.
Pardon me, did you say that you're going to take off discussion of insurance options?
That's not medical insurance though, is it?
I thought that one was the self-insured.
I don't
what
think
that
so.
was all about.
Okay, so we're leaving that on?
Sir? I think it's got direction on that. I believe that.
So take it off?
I was taking that one off.
Okay.
Discussion on potential citizenship award. We actually took action on that last month. Does it need a little more? Okay. Sewer use ordinance, the last time we even met on that was June of 2020. I'll be for removing that one. Procurement process, we discussed that in February of 21 with no action. Scenic highway overlay, we just handled tonight. Wastewater disposal management. Last time we discussed it was in 2020. Wastewater disposal management, Mr. Roper, do you know what that was?
I don't recall specifically.
Okay. Council rules, I believe we've actually, looks like April of 21. 162, an ordinance of the county abandoning and relinquishing maintenance responsibilities to Clemson University for Old Route 28. Did we not come?
We did.
We resolved that.
Yeah,
So
we resolved that.
163, Committee of 99. It's been a minute there. I haven't heard an update.
It's an ongoing thing.
That is an ongoing thing.
The Committee of 99 is done? Okay, so we can remove it from here.
Okay. 164, shred truck options should be removed. 2021, rec funding request should be removed. 2021, ATAX request should be removed. Pickens County Performing Arts Center Foundation Board. It looks like 10/18 of, nope, I'm lying to you, 3/1 of 21. I believe it should be removed. 169, emergency services update. I believe that one should be removed. We've taken action there. Boards, 501c3 boards that the county is currently supporting.
Those for formal application.
That was about the formal application process. So that one can be removed. 171, an ordinance amending Article 1 of Chapter 34 of the Pickens County Code of Ordinances to provide remedies and penalties for illegal litter and dumping. There was no action taken by the county, and is that? It's redundant. Redundant. So we can actually remove 171. Budget work session can be removed. Results of employee survey can be removed. Overriding Parks and Rec plan.
Mr. Chairman, you heard us speaking of several parks that have been created. That was part of that discussion, so just for purposes of this committee.
Okay, so we can remove 175 council rules, council communication. I believe that one we addressed. 176 ordinance 533, amend the animal control ordinance. Sounds like it's been greater than a year. Does anyone have heartburn over removing?
Please remove it.
Okay, 177, American Rescue Act funding, that's still active. Hey Good Meal MOU.
Conversation's still going on. I don't know whether it needs to be.
We can leave it in the committee for the time being since that conversation is still going. Compensation adjustment fiscal year 2022, I believe that can be removed. Property rights resolution. 181, that can be removed. 182, unified dispatch plan from staff. We've met about that recent. I'd like for that to stay on unless there's heartburn over that. Annual update to the capital improvement plan, it can be removed. Consideration of recommendation from Public Service Commission.
I believe that's mooted.
Okay, that can be removed. 185, consideration of request from Library Board for expansion plans for the Hampton Library. I believe that can be removed. That was greater than a year. 186, first reading in title only, related to litter and other property. Again, that's redundant. Annual update to the capital improvement plan. 187 can be removed. Pickens Paul Partners County Vet, we handled that, correct? 188 can be removed. 189, we went over the Pickens County Medical Control Contract and review process. That can be removed. Fire fee revenue structure, that can be removed. 191, provisions of county employee health benefits for upcoming fiscal year. 191, we handled that, can be removed. 2030 comprehensive plan referral by council. We took action on that. That was it, correct? 192 can be removed. 193, funding request consideration. I believe that can be removed. 194, council redistricting, that can be removed. 195, an ordinance to combine Construction Board of Appeals and Zoning Board of Appeals. We did that. That can be removed. Aerial Mill Rehab Project. That needs to stay. That one needs to stay, yep. 2022 rec funding recommendations, we handled that. 197 can be removed. 198, 2022 ATAX can be removed. 199, renaming of Law Enforcement Center, we did that tonight. That can be removed. Regulatory discussion on general property, 200. That can be removed. 201. That can be removed, correct? 201?
Yes, sir.
202, process for abandoned roadways, we've handled that. 203, updating county tire policy per DHEC requirement, we handled. Leave that one? Okay, we'll leave 203. Discounted veteran access to county park, we did that, correct? 204 can be removed. 205, Limitation on future development on Scenic Highway 11, we can remove that. 206, solid waste discussion. Is that redundant?
Mr. Roper.
206 redundant?
It's redundant.
Council rules discussion regarding public forum comment. I feel like we had that.
We argued about it.
Yeah, we did. There was no action, but I feel like we had that conversation.
Please remove it.
So we can remove 207. 208, county employee handbook was added this year.
That was this year.
But we haven't done anything there. Okay. County constables and certification process, we tabled for future consideration.
Was that the garbage cops?
Yes.
Enforcement compliance officers.
Right. I don't know if we came to a resolution on that. Annual capital improvement plan update can be removed. So I ask for a motion that we remove.
Yeah, you can do better by keeping.
Okay, I ask for a motion that we keep log number 80, log number 109, log number 123, log number 133, log number 134, log number 141, log number 142, $177, $178, $182, $196, $203, $208, and $209. Ask for a motion. And a second. Second by Councilman Seta. Any discussion on that? All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you, gentlemen. Ooh, that was almost painful. All right, item number 12 on tonight's agenda. An inductive resolution number 2022-28 identifying a project to satisfy the requirements of Title 12, Chapter 44 of the South Carolina Code so as to allow investment expenditures incurred by one or more companies known to the county at this time collectively as project efficiency, its or their affiliates and related entities and certain sponsor affiliates to qualify expenditure eligible for fee in lieu of ad valorem tax arrangement with Pickens County, South Carolina, providing for any other necessary agreements with the company to effect the intent of this resolution and other matters related thereto. I ask for a motion and a second to consider inductment resolution number 2022-28.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Feimster. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Vice Chairman Costner. Discussion.
Can we?
So this is project efficiency. If you received a briefing on it, I believe last month, or last meeting in executive session, it will, basically, my understanding of this, and Mr. Farley's here to correct me if I'm wrong, we also have our learned county attorney beside me in case I misstate something, but this is required as we move forward with consideration of a fee load for that project. This basically says, okay, that's a project, and the money that they expend would be included in the fee load. It basically starts the clock, so to speak, but the fee load still has to be approved by council at a future date. Is that right? Thank you.
I have a point of clarification. Is this project in any way related to, associated with, located near Highway 11? Thank you very much.
Any other discussion?
You're positive of that, right?
Yeah. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Any opposed? No. Item number 13. Ask for nothing on the consent agenda at this point tonight. Item 14. I ask for a motion and a second that we go into executive session to review applications for boards and commissions, and then contractual with the proposed contractual agreement. Recast USA LP and Era Contact USA LLC, as well as Project Made. I need a motion and a second. I have a motion by Councilman Feimster and a second by Councilman Wyhurst. All those in favor, please signify by raising your hand. Thank you, gentlemen.
Should we end?
We'll return as soon as we're finished in executive.
Mr. Chairman?
How you doing? Yes. That's right.